Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. My name is Casey Denman. I'm a tax sale veteran. I'm the leading tax sale expert, the author of the Tax Sale Playbook, founder of the Tax Sale Academy, and I am your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. As a reminder, this podcast is available on a number of different channels, including Spotify Video, YouTube, and wherever else podcasts can be found. So make sure you check us out at taxsalepodcast.com so you can download us on your favorite podcasting platform. This is a completely free podcast brought to you through and because of the Tax Sale Academy, which you can learn more about by visiting taxsaleacademy.com. All right, today I want to talk about some of the most common hurdles in the tax sale business and how you can overcome them. Let's get right to it. The first one that I hear all the time is that it is too complicated. Or somebody will get into this business thinking it is extremely easy, only to later learn it is much more difficult than they thought. And that was the case when I got into this business a couple of decades ago. I spent years learning by trial and error, mistake after mistake. And that's an awfully expensive, timely, and difficult way to learn. If you're struggling to learn, my suggestion is to slow down and take your time. Often I find that a lot of people, when they first get into this business, from the time that they first learn about the tax sale business to the time where they find it, end quote, too difficult, is around a week. And this is borderline laughable, to be honest. We want to develop a skill that's going to make us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, an income greater than 95% of Americans, and we want to learn it in a week or two. It's not possible. Slow down. Actually go through the process of learning. If you're doing it yourself, it can definitely be done just like I did. Expect for it to take months or years while making some mistakes along the way. Now, if you want to learn faster, find the appropriate resources. A great place to start are the county websites. Review their tax sale list. Just take a look at them. Read the frequently asked questions page. Call them or visit their office and ask them questions about the process. Counties can be a tremendous and free resource for you to learn from. Outside of that, find somebody to teach you. If there's somebody local to you that has seen a lot of tax sale success and they will mentor you, that is going to be a tremendous asset. If not, if you don't have anybody as a local mentor, find a mentor from somewhere else. Now, before you do this, make sure you properly vet that person. Take a look at their history, how long they've been teaching others, how long they've been in this business. Take a look at their teaching style and their overall commitment to the tax sale community. See what they have done to contribute to others. Determine just how much they are trying to help before you pay them a single penny, and make sure you check their longevity, because there's a lot of fly-by-night folks trying to educate others on something that they themselves just learn. And of course, you need to make sure that you mesh with their teaching style. Now, I'm not going to go into much depth on this, but rest assured, I get emails all the time from folks that will watch my free YouTube videos online tell me that they are more valuable, more helpful than stuff they pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. So before you spend a single penny with anybody, make sure you do your research. Make sure that person is willing to contribute to your success as well as everybody else in the tax sale business. All right, the next hurdle that I see is people simply don't have enough time. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can be successful in this business without investing any time. It's simply not possible. You must invest the time required to learn this business. You must also invest the time required to operate your business. But 40 hours a week is not necessary. I have members in the Tax Sale Academy that are employed full-time in a job completely unrelated to real estate. And they work 40, sometimes 50 hours a week in that job, and they still find time to invest. And this includes a lot of high stress type jobs like doctors. I've got a lot of attorneys in the academy, a lot of business owners, and they still find the time to do it and to be successful at. If time is your biggest hurdle, I would highly suggest that you get into this business with a major focus on learning how to do it efficiently. Everything from learning to finding lists to researching buying properties and even selling those properties can be done very, very efficiently when you learn how to do it correctly. It's no longer necessary to spend hours and hours going from one county to another, digging through a whole bunch of records, then attending in-person auctions, and then another few hours trying to figure out how you're going to market this specific property. Efficiency is something that I am incredibly proud of when it comes to how I operate my business and how I train my members to operate their businesses. Once you understand in depth how to invest in tax-defaulted real estate, after that, the most important thing, in my opinion, is to learn how to do it efficiently. When you learn that skill, you go from finding yourself in a job to becoming an investor. If you have as little as 5 very focused hours per week, you can make money as a tax sale investor. And most people, when they really think about it, can probably come up with 5 hours a week. Obviously, the more time you're able to invest, the better. But at the end of the day, if you learn how to operate efficiently, you'll be golden when it comes to time. The next one is that they simply don't have the money. The best thing about the tax sale business is the relatively low capital requirements to get started. Now, I've discussed this before, but when I started, it was not uncommon for me to turn to my partners to borrow capital from. Those partners, of course, were named Visa and MasterCard. You might have heard of them. If you've ever wanted to invest in real estate, there's not a cheaper alternative than tax sales. Most tax defaulted real estate is sold with a starting bid and the amount of back due taxes, interest, and fees. And that's a fraction of nearly every other type of real estate investment out there. At the end of the day, if you're diligent and you're resourceful, you can get the required funds. And it's not like we're talking $500,000 or something crazy like that. I've got videos on some of my ridiculously cheap properties that I've purchased over the years on my YouTube channel. Outside of credit cards, most people can come up with the necessary funds in a matter of months or even weeks simply by cutting out some expenses, by working a few extra hours, by tapping into savings, using retirement accounts, finding a partner or two, and then countless other strategies that we teach about. If money is the issue, it likely revolves around the fact that you are not looking hard enough to find it. Again, you do not need much money to get started. You can buy certain tax liens for well under $100. So it's not like you need millions to get started. The last hurdle I want to discuss today is people say, well, it just won't work for me. And this is by far the easiest hurdle to get over. If you're in this business and it is not working for you, it simply requires an adjustment of strategy, a pivot of sorts. If something is not working for you, evaluate what's not working and make the necessary changes. Far too often in this business, and perhaps life in general even, everybody seems to gravitate towards the easy path. And for the tax sale business, this is the easy house to sell, the easy county to research, the easy place to bid. Easier? Better, right? Well, that's until you realize that every single person wants easy. And when you make that realization, ironically enough, the entire business becomes much easier because then you go from gravitating towards all the easy stuff to the stuff that's a little bit more difficult where everybody else is not focused. There are 3 very common ways to pivot rather quickly. The first is by changing up the type of property you're going after. Instead of looking for that cute 3-2 with a picket fence, consider that acreage parcel out in the country somewhere, or that vacant lot down the road, maybe that not a whole lot of people are interested in. Another way to pivot is by changing markets. New investors tend to love the easy markets, which are typically the bigger cities that have bigger budgets, that put everything online at the tip of your fingers when it comes to researching, bidding, and everything else. That, of course, creates competition. So go to the smaller markets, even if the research might not be quite as easy. And the last way to pivot is through exposure. The more properties that you see auctioned off, the higher your chances are of success. If you watch 10 properties get sold, you might not get a single one. If you watch 10,000 properties get sold, I guarantee you're going to be able to buy and make money off of a number of them. Listen, like every business, the tax sale industry does absolutely have hurdles. But as talked about today, with some of the most common hurdles, it's pretty easy to overcome those hurdles with the right strategy mixed with a little bit of effort. I truly hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the Tax Sale Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please do me a huge favor and leave a positive review on whatever video or podcasting platform you're listening to us on today. This podcast is free. I don't charge a listening or membership fee or any of that nonsense, but your reviews really help us out. and might even serve to pay it forward to somebody else who learns about this business simply because you took the time to tap a 5-star review or to leave a positive feedback comment. And as always, if we can be of any additional help, make sure you check us out at TaxSellAcademy.com. Hey, take care, folks, and make it a successful day. We'll see you next time right here on the Tax Sell Podcast. Bye-bye.